Today we have a special treat. We have Marilena Barbera who's with us today. She comes to us from Sicily in Italy, and has become a good friend of the Vineyard Wine Shop over the years. So we're gonna chat with Marilena today about Sicily first, and then we're gonna talk to her about the wonderful wines that she produces. And just as we do most times, let you know, vineyardwineshop.com is our website. Marilena has two websites, which are
cantinabarbera.it and .net, which one is the institutional one where you can find anything about the wines, our production methods and everything. The cantinabarbera.net is more like a blog. It's more like a conversation I do with my friends, and everybody can interact with our website and just ask questions, or you can find pictures of the harvest, pictures of our yeasts reproduction methods, and and it's more like a conversation, a friendly conversation.
Great, that's wonderful. And then also the importer of those wines is Enotech, and their website is enotechimports.net. If you want to find out, and that can link you to her website as well. So
you can find any information.
So what I think would be fun is to talk about Sicily a little bit.
Everybody knows Sicily.
Yes,
I think.
True.
As a big island in the Mediterranean, that's the most special fact about that place. I mean, the ocean and all the special climate conditions that make making wine there a very special thing. Our winery is located southwest of Sicily in the province of Agrigento. So it's the heart of the Greek culture. Greek people came to Sicily 3,000 years ago to introduce their culture, and of course they introduced also the grapes, the grape culture. Right. So the first grapes were brought by Greek 3,000 years ago, and they adapted from Middle East to all the Mediterranean area. That means a special environment and a special adaptation now for domestic local wines that we produce. Inzolio, for instance, which is our white wine, is a great grape. She absorbs all the minerals and salts that comes from the sea, and she acquires a beautiful mineral taste, which is fresh and pleasant, and it's unique because you cannot find this grape anywhere else now. Exactly as the Nero d'Avola, which is the red grape that we produce and we grow, and it's a very interesting, fruitful and pleasant red grape that results in a very different kind of wines. You can have young Nero d'Avolas with a soft, mild body and with a lot of richness and lots of minerals. You can also have bold, big, structured red Nero d'Avolas with a lot of tannins and a lot of expression going on. So it's great to work in such a beautiful environment and to have the opportunity to give birth to the wines.
That's great. So the other thing that obviously is important to folks who drink wine is the foods that would go with those. Being on an island of obviously a fair amount of seafood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seafood is the first food that we have. Staying and living on the sea, we have these small boats coming every day and bringing the fresh seafood to the land. The exceptional pairing with Inzolio, because of the freshness and the fruitiness of the wine, matches very well with all sort of raw fish, for instance. Mm-hmm. Whatever you have, a sushi idea or just a shrimp salad or clams, whatever, Inzolio just goes very well. But also, I'm thinking about the tuna fish, which has a red meat. And tuna fish can be just perfect with a glass of Nero d'Avola, because the acidity of Nero d'Avola complements very well the greasy, oily thing that you feel about the tuna. So it's just a very nice, good marriage.
Right. And is it just seafood, or are there other things? Obviously, vegetables.
And meat, Sicily.
But meats too.
Mm-hmm. Sicily has been invaded so many times, and that's something very special about our country, because we share cultures from the Mediterranean, but also from the northern part of Europe. Spanish people, German people, French people, Arabs, everybody came to Sicily, and everybody felt like home. Sicily was like a place where people would like to stay. So anybody who came just brought his culture there, and our culture is enhanced by all the different mixture that came throughout the centuries. So we have a cuisine related to the Arab culture, for instance. Anything that is spicy. We do a couscous, which is typical dish of all Northern Africa and all Arab countries, for instance. Or we have lots of meat, cured meat, that come from the Spanish culture. And of course the fish comes from the French culture. So vegetables are produced all over Sicily, and you can find fresh produce every day in the market. It is a simple cuisine. We don't use cream, we don't use a lot of stuff. We try to have a very pure, simple flavors.
But everything's fresh.
Yes,
and that would be the reason.
Fresh.
That would be
That's
the reason
right.
for that, because it's the natural flavors
Yeah,
that already
that's
exist.
true. That's true. Actually, we at the winery we do not produce only wines. We are farmers, so we also make olive oil. We also produce artichokes, lemons, aubergines during the summer. So it's a part of our culture, so a part of our being to be in touch and in contact with nature.
Right. Yeah, well, that's great. That's as it should be, I think. So let's talk about the wines now.
All right.
Marilena literally does everything at the winery now, which is just a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose. Keeps her busy. But let's talk about Inzolia first. We touched on it a little bit. To me, Inzolia is, has nice weight to it. More medium full-bodied in style, very aromatic style white wine.
Inzolia is a semi-aromatic varietal, actually. So you can have the pleasant fruit and sour nose just coming directly from the grape. We do not use selected yeasts, and this is very important. We reproduce the culture of our own yeast that we extract directly from the vineyards. That is to be very loyal to the territory, and we don't use GMO, we don't use chemics. So it is a way of interpretation of our beautiful territory that you can find in the wines. So the wine that we produce is very respectful of the essence of the place. You find more vegetal things to the nose than just the tropical, typical characteristic of white wines. We do not use oak. So every wine is fermented in stainless steel and stays there for refining 6 months. What you have is wine that is pleasant, is not overwhelming, doesn't cut your mouth or doesn't cut what you're eating. It's a nice wine to have a glass as aperitivo, or is a nice wine to complement light food, like the Inzolia is paired very well with any vegetable, with any soft cheese, or of course fish. Right. While Nerdaula can be paired with pasta, pizza. It's typical Italian recipes, or Sicilian recipes, but also tuna fish, as we said, right. Or meat. Whenever you have tomato, actually. Yeah. Tomato is a very important part of our cuisine, and the acidity of the tomato just goes very well with the acidity of Nerdaula.
Yeah. And what you're trying to get is kind of the same thing that we spoke about the cuisine, is where it's a very natural, fresh, pure version of Sicily. The wines are exactly that same expression.
Yes.
Where you're trying to achieve what Inzolia is going to taste like and not do anything to it to change it.
No, we try to respect very much what we have. I mean, I walk very early in the morning in the vineyards. When it's harvest time, we pick some berries and we eat the berries just to understand what the flavor is on that vintage and what the aromas are developing inside the berry. The grapes speak to you, and they tell you where they want to go to become wines. So the only thing that you have to do is to lead them and to make it possible. But you don't have to do anything really special to do that. You have to just take care of your grapes and try to lead them where they want to be. Right. That's it. Yeah. So I know it can be very simple, but anyone who just comes to the winery to visit during the harvest, and everyone is very welcome to do that, he will understand while he touches the things that we do. It's all manual, handcraft work. We harvest during the night by hand. We produce our yeast, just squeezing. Squeezing means squeezing with hands the grapes, and to produce the juice that will result in a spontaneous fermentation. Everything is very natural and very simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to be complicated to make wine.
No, if you take care of the grapes in the vineyard, then
This is what my moms do mainly. She works with the laborers every day in the vineyards. She takes care of the grapes until they're ready for fermentation, for harvest. Then I come, I check.
Showtime.
Yeah, I mean, during the winter, my focus mainly is to promote the wines and to travel to different markets. We actually export to 14 different markets in the world, which is quite challenging for a very small winery as we are. We only produce 6,000 cases a year for a total of 9 wines. That will become 11 wines soon. So every wine is really a selection, a small selection of the best thing that our territory can express. When it's time for winemaking, I take over my mom's job, and I take care of the harvest, on the winemaking, and the refining process.
Great, that's wonderful. And the last thing that we want to touch on, which is certainly newer, is the baby rose.
Yeah.
Which is the rosato that you produce. You know, the nice thing for us is Tech Imports has been kind enough to let us have some kind of exclusivity where there's only just a handful of accounts that have
last year 200 cases made. This year maybe 400 cases will be made of this wine. So it was a special project that I care very much about that. We planted a new Nero d'Avola vineyard on a calcareous soil 4 years ago. And the vines are young, so they are not able to produce a bold, structured wine. But all you have is freshness, minerality, and fruit. So the first harvest was actually 2009. We only had 45 quintals of that beautiful Saint grapes. And talking with David Lynch, which is actually the person at Anotech who carries wines, and he tastes this, and we do some marketing together. He said, why don't we have just a sample rosé wine from these grapes? We need to have a rosé wine, and the project went on. I was feeling like a mother during the harvest, because it was my first wine that I made all alone without a winemaker assistance. It was a special project that would, link anymore our winery to the U.S. market, which is very important for us. And I was feeling like a mother carrying her baby. And she's rose, so she's pink. So I was feeling like a mother. And I was checking every day at the wineries, how is baby Rose today? How is she doing? Is she great? And when I first took a sample from the tank, it was February last year, and brought the bottle to here, we had a tasting with salespeople, just a meeting, and I was telling the story of how I was feeling, and they said, why don't you call this Bambina, because it's a baby, and she is Rose is a girl, so La Bambina means baby girl, and the name came. And there is a very special thing about this wine, that we have a paw print on the label. So it's a sign of my friend Joe, who wanted to sign the label with his paw print. Such a small production goes only to few accounts in the States. It can be like 25 accounts between retailers and restaurant shops, restaurant owners, and so it's a very exclusive, tiny production, but people seem to love it.
Right, yeah, and you were actually going to go and go bottle that wine this coming Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, Wednesday. I will be back on Monday, and Wednesday is the day.
Yeah, and then we'll see that wine in April.
Yes.
Yeah.
End of April will be here for sure.
So that will something to look forward to, besides the Anzolia and the Nero d'Avola.
Yes.
And I think, as you can see, to me, that is the beauty of somebody who is so hands-on. But you can certainly see how much Marilena has passion for what she does. Her enthusiasm is wonderful. And we just want to thank you for stopping by today. It's always a pleasure to see you.
It is a pleasure
Thank
to see
you.
you. Thanks, Rich.
You betcha. Ciao.
Ciao.